And as we say, every Sunday, Sunday now comes, Sunday is right here.
Sunday
as a matter
there.
of fact, it's 14 hours into this Sunday. Good afternoon, good afternoon.
How which school did you go, guy?
Me, we got a good school, man, Decatur College.
Well, them teach you how to count. Why?
Yeah, very well too. We use, what them call like a thing with it? Abacus, yes. Original abacus. Listen, today, let me tell you, I've been looking for, the only other program or episode that I've looked forward to apart from today was when we did Lickover. Because
Mikey loved that program then,
we
Lickover too. In fact,
are looking at a legacy of over 60 years, but we're just going to focus on 60 years. And
hey,
Richie, we've curated, give me a chance, man. Every Sunday you take over, so give me a chance. Mikey Bennett, welcome.
Why that studio? Mikey, we broke some fight.
Today, Mikey
has some different opinions
exactly.
on the music.
But it's going to be fun, and we're going to make it fun.
But absolutely. Today, we're looking at 6 decades of music, and we know we're not going to be able to do this show.
We probably have to do this in about 4 parts, Richie.
But the one thing we are certain about, we have one of the best persons in studio with us to go through this thing. And there's the man in the striped shirt down in Jamaica there, a man called Mikey Bennett. The boy got buy liquor today, though. I'm certain. We have in the house with us the man behind the mechanics, Mr. Magic, the magician
who waves
run
the wand.
thing, and the man on my left
in the wheels
who
of
control
plastic.
the wheels of plastic, Mr. Big G.
Yeah,
It is.
I'm
The
controlling us.
program is called 60 Years Jamaica's Music Legacy. 60 years. I'm gonna, take our time, go through this. We have Mikey Bennett there, man who has made his bones in the business over the last one. Mikey, 4 decades, eh?
Boy, you hold me up, brother, but it's true.
But let us get started with a little turn of something here that we think is more very appropriate tune.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna take the
and the reason why we chose that song is that this song has transcended itself over the 6 decades. I say yeah.
If there ever was a song produced by Jamaica that has had an impact, it would have got to be.
The only other song that I can think of, Richie, that ranks right up there with it is his other song, Bam Bam.
54-46. It's just Bam Bam have a different connotation why I wouldn't have voted Bam Bam in this thing. But, the issues addressed by Toots in that song, and may the good Lord rest him soul in peace, is, for the last 6 decades we've been grappling with this crime problem and, the antisocial issues in Jamaica. And this song has basically stood the test of time over the years. One of the most potent songs in my mind to come from Toots' catalog, if you ask me. Mikey's back with us. Mikey, your thoughts?
It was autobiographical. It was something that, at the time we heard it, we didn't know the circumstances. So it was a hit song, but to me, it gained more importance as the years went on, when we realized that it was actually the story of a situation that took place.
Right.
And when I had the pleasure of meeting Toots and became quite close to him, and he would tell a couple things. He was telling us about the policeman who came to him to say, "Boy, listen, he's paid him for set you up." So it became a real situation, and it spoke to how easy it was for a person to get locked up for the split, and then the level of corruption, in other words, that has been with us all along. But in spite of that, what it also shows out pressure create diamonds. Out of this serious situation came this wonderful song that has connected with us over the years. And that is a tribute to Toots' ability to just tell a story.
A story, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. And with his Pentecostal energy and thing. It's like he might tell it from his heart and his soul, so it connect with all of us. Even over, like I said, it never connect with me early, but as the years grow on and you had more and more friends getting locked up for little weed and things, you realize that this is a serious thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. In fact,
So
just for those people who don't know the full story, a quick synopsis. Toots had basically won the festival song contest and was on his way in terms of the development of his career. And he got some bookings. He was heading out of Kingston to the North Coast where he had a booking to play over the weekend. And of course, he was riding on a motorcycle as a pillion with one of the members of the Maytals. The other would have been riding by himself. And he said they got into Spanish Town, and he said they couldn't find the other guy who was riding by himself. Can't remember who it was. And so he turned back. And when he turned back, the police had basically pulled him over and arrested him. Now, Toots, same going there to address the thing, and them search Toots' bag and find some weed. And so
him get locked up too.
Him get locked up too. And as you say, Mikey, the dog newspaper have it that it was a setup because them basically wanted to clip Toots' wing. He was going to him, by winning the festival song, which was never expected.
No, hold on. That is not the story,
Yeah.
The story that Toots told, and I was doing a show with Dermot.
Uh-huh.
Toots was the biggest Jamaican act in Europe at the time, right? Blackwell had signed Bob Marley and wanted to take Bob Marley and wanted the promoters to include Bob Marley on the tour. And the promoters said, no, Toots is who the people really want here. So the conspiracy story is, whether you believe it or not, is that in order to get Bob Marley on the show,
they want to lock up Toots.
So that Toots couldn't go. So that was what Toots said. The man come and confessed to him. It was a setup. Whether it was Blackwell himself or somebody connected with the whole thing. But he was approached by somebody and I guess paid and said, listen, this is
make sure so this man don't see the light.
And Toots actually said it live, so it's not even like I telling tales of the story. This is not even this is something that he has said. And nobody has, I guess, there have been, people disagree with the whole thing. But that was the situation. So, it's a long time. It's a long time.
You truncate the story, Papi, but that's it. He said the idea was to get him out of the picture. Because if you once you lock him up and him have to face the court, him can't travel. And so the opportunity for him to have left Jamaica on this tour that disappeared. Now you have more information clearly, but the bottom line is, as I said, the corruption, and that's why I think God would have selected this tune, because you're looking at, corruption never just started yesterday or last year. A long time it ago.
A long time.
And if you can, if you put a man, get a man out of the system, all you have to do is arrange for a policeman, lock him up. And worse, give the policeman a plane ticket and tell him go to America for 2 weeks. Because unless the arresting officer is involved and to take the case to court, the man will stay at jail until the arresting officer. It just shows you the kind of corruption that is in place and how you can manipulate the system.
This was 1968, and there was another song which was since we're on that year, there was another song which has just as much importance as 5446, and that is this song. Yeah, we just had to get 1968 out of the way, which was, as Richie and I have discussed it at length, 1967, 68, 69.
I think 67 and 68 are two of the wickedest years
in Jamaican
music in terms of
creativity and development and
music development, everything. That is my opinion, and
that is my opinion too.
Yeah,
so to trump anybody out there who wants to say anything about it.
But that Desmond Dekker song, Mikey, your thoughts?
Like I say, because of the age we were, we didn't understand we call it now, the ace that them draw. Because one of the reasons I heard, I mean, I read it, heard why the song became so big was the whole mention of the Israelites. I mean, we never understand the power of the Jewish population. I mean, in the well, outside of the diaspora.
Right.
And so when we were talking about poor we Israelites, I mean, I wasn't connecting it with a nation of people or the Jews. It was just like a poor me Israelite. I mean, we grew up as Christian in Jamaica. But my understanding is that the Jews, who control the entertainment industry, embrace the song pretty much like how them did Rivers of Babylon and just embrace the song and just gave it that extra push. It just took off, you know what I mean? But it was a song, and I mean, those of us who went to parties, it was a different move to dance to it. So it was a really connecting song. And it showed up. So in your mind, you had Toots on one side and you had Desmond Dekker on the other side. And it was the side, in other words, we in Jamaica, we're getting used to at least every once month or two, there was this new
big tune
coming out. That you could have looked from play and you go buy and you spin for the next 2 months until the next one come out. So we were the benefactors of an organized set of distribution and releases and things that we could have looked forward to. And it was, trust me, it just remind me of a great time in Jamaica as I used to have all of this music that we could have. That to us was as important as the Motown and the Stax thing that was coming. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yep. In fact, the song too was a huge success commercially, and established Desmond Dekker internationally as a significant global star. And to your point, Mikey, at the time you would have had John Holt and the Paragons would have been running at the same time. You would have had Toots and the Maytals, you would have had the Wailers, you would have had the Melodians. All these groups are out there and putting out big songs. But Dekker took this and the song was, I think it went number one. It was number one in where? In the United Kingdom. It sold, I think let's say some 7 million copies of this record was sold. It was established Desmond Dekker as one of the biggest acts coming out of Jamaica, long before even Bob Marley put on him underpants.
Yeah, man. The Jewish power brokers got behind this song.
Now, we jumped 67, 68.
We jumped forward.
I really want us to look
6
at
years.
What in 1962 we became independent, and we know the whole independence.
Yeah, we did Derek Morgan, Forward March, and all of that.
Forward March, which was a big tune by any stretch of the imagination at the time. Would have been a big tune. Plus, it was a signal tune for Jamaicans heading into independence, and it was also another signal tune in terms of the direction that the music was going. But behind that song was another song that, in my mind, what trumped it was a song called Housewife's Choice. Well, the Marie Gart had rechristened the song as Housewife's Choice. And we want to give the listeners a taste of these two songs, and we come back and take it from there.
Yeah, but I'm just kind of looking at those years, going up to 1968, Richard, before we even get there, so we can cover a little bit more music in the time, as you and I have discussed. You had Roy Panton and Millie Small with a song called We'll Meet. In 63, we looked at Stranger Cole, Rough and Tough, Toots and the Maytals, I'll Never Grow Old, and in 64, Scatterlights, Guns of Navarone, and My Boy Lollipop.
Well, you had some homework, man, right?
They have me up one night till about 2 o'clock in the morning, And a war broke out over the tune because we can't agree. Right?
Yeah, I can imagine.
I can tell you 2 o'clock in the morning. Me have to tell the man, say, man, me go on my bed, man. Because this is we can't finish this in one night.
Call I up. Don't want you to go along, sir. I want you to come call me up. We played Many Rivers to Cross, Jimmy Cliff, 1969. Harry J. All Stars with Liquidator, 1969 again. Young Gifted and Black, Bob Andy and Marcia Griffiths, and Eric Donaldson's Cheerio Baby, and of course, the Wailers, Trenchtown Rock.
Now, you cover a significant ground.
This was from 69 to 70,
at this point.
71.
Yeah, but for me, two of the songs, well, the Bob and the Marcia Griffiths song was a standout in terms of the impact that it had, certainly outside of Jamaica. And it sort of helped to refocus the attention on the youngsters. But more significantly, Liquidator tune. Mikey, Harry J, to me, Liquidator is perhaps one of the most important tunes to come out of the 70s because what it was doing is trending away from what we had as the establishment. So Harry J is kind of kicking down the door, creating a different set of, a different approach to the music and the sound. Scratch Perry had come into his own. In fact, Perry is the one who actually created this sound, in my opinion, right? But Harry J took it and commercialized it.
As a matter of fact, Young Gifted and Black was mixed at Harry J. And then they overdubbed the strings in England. But I played the original Jamaica mix without the strings.
Absolutely. Your thoughts, Mike?
All right, so I want to say two things. One of the cohorts that need a lot of credit for the success of Jamaican music are the Jamaicans living abroad, the diaspora. Put that
right.
Both Young Gifted and Black and the Harry J thing speaks to that. The brokerage of power that them have, creative power them have in England in terms of connecting things. And if you notice how ska, well, the rest of the world don't react to things as quickly as Jamaica. So in Europe didn't let go ska as soon as we did,
Right.
So what you have to understand is that during this time now, a lot of the Jamaican things were influenced by what was taking place in England and what the power brokers in England were saying that they could sell or they could, So producers who were kind of tuned in, whether it's the Bunny Lees or the Scratch or the
Prince Buster,
they were being guided by their counterparts in England. So what I want the audience to remember, for every song that you hear that made it, there were another 20 or 30 that were made,
right,
that just did not fit, tick all the boxes. So the ones that went through were the magical ones that hit voting. But the diaspora, I don't think the diaspora has got enough credit for the success of our music. In other words, when you're driving, when you're in a London, or what part of the world you are, and every other car you hear pass, every Jamaican car you hear, playing up this music loud. Or you're in an apartment building or whatever, and people playing them music and cooking them soup, and cooking them food. It has a serious impact. So it both culture. So the taste. So we have to celebrate a lot of these things and give them a lot of credit, because what has happened? The promoters grew out of the cohort, in the diaspora, and music has an ecosystem that is required for it to succeed. So they didn't have to become big stars to be touring or be promoted by big British promoters. Our Jamaican promoters, Caribbean promoters, made sure that from somebody had a little song starting to bubble on the local charts, they would come to England, bring them up to England, and before you know, they're on top of the pops. All the things that were necessary for people to see them, to become a part of the whole thing. And they in turn picked up on what the trends that were taking place in England, and were able to come back to Jamaica and influence the next set of recordings that were taking place. So there was this ecosystem that was positively affecting all that was going on, without which I don't think we would have had as much success as we did internationally. This is something I studied for quite a bit, and when I travel, you listen and you hear how people react to certain songs. as you will know, as a selector producer, some songs that you hear when you see some charts coming from it, I don't right even in New York. And you realize that song would not have made it in Jamaica. So Jamaica has this thing of importing songs that have made it abroad. Songs that would by themselves would not have taken off here. But we have imported hits because okay, this song big up, so we get import and we get start. And once Raider get into it and start to endorse it, people realize that so this kind of nice, it's true. But just given under normal circumstances, a lot of these songs would not have made it.
You know, Mikey, that song, Liquidator, is one of the first songs which you would call it a reverse song, because the Staple Singers got a demo. The guy who was the lead for Staple Singers got a demo, called the band in for Staple Singers, and they listened to this, and then I'll Take You There came out of this song. It was one of the first songs which made that reverse transition.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that story. And I want to tell you, when the football crowd in England took on to that song.
It was, yes.
Seriously.
One of the clubs, is Arsenal or one of them, used that song.
One of them London clubs.
Yeah, one of the clubs. It's either, I can't remember which one of them, but they play that Liquidator song all the time at football matches. The other point I wanted to make, Marley's Trenchtown
Rock, yes.
Again, seminal piece of music, because
One
you're
good
looking
thing about
at
music, when it hits you feel
you're
no
looking
pain.
at a small area, 2 square miles, if you will, and the impact this little area had on the culture
Kingston 12.
Well, the music culture. That is not to say that music wasn't being made elsewhere in Kingston, but certainly the roster of musicians that was coming out of Trenchtown, relative to elsewhere
across the country,
in Kingston specifically and Jamaica generally, and so that music was a celebration, because Trenchtown was largely, well, it started out as one of the earliest housing settlements in Kingston in the 1930s, 1940s, where them did this Wattle and Dab thing, and it became the center around which the benefits politics of the 1970s, basically helped divide the country. But in spite of all of that, here is an area that contributed significantly. And so Trenchtown is saying, we are here to shake up the world. Just like how Prince Buster said, we shake up Orange Street. This is Marley, 10 years later, taking the same position and shaking up the world from Trenchtown.
A couple of, before you come in, Mikey, a couple of honorable mentions from the 60s coming in was Paragon's Tide is High, Toots and the Maytals, Sweet and Dandy, and of course, You, Roy, and the Paragons, Wear You to the Ball.
You have to play that Wear You to the Ball tune, because that is a significant.
Oh, man.
You can't just talk about that tune.
Well, no, when it start the next segment.
You have to play that.
Yeah. But your thoughts, Mikey, with the Trenchtown thing, because I think that's what Marley, a part of that message, that at least certainly my interpretation of Marley in terms of the anthem is an anthem for the underprivileged out of Trenchtown. That's
All right, again, take it to another place. One of the things that when a PR job is done very well, it's seamless. You don't even understand that the impact. One of the things that most of us don't understand is the impact of island PR on even all those of us who are in the music in the situation. And what this PR did with coming out of that whole rock situation and thing is find a little element of a particular situation and highlight it and transform it into something. In other words, under normal circumstances, coming from Trenchtown, as you know, say you drive at night time and policeman stop you and you say, Which part you live? You say Trench Town.
A prison you go.
Exactly.
I go
You say you
tonight.
go, even there is a different thing. So in other words, to the genius to turn that situation wrong and say, listen, we come from Trench Town and highlight it in a way. Because what I'm saying is that we, in Jamaica, we were benefiting without even being aware of a lot of the PR strategies that were formulated outside of the island. In other words, here was this product that we have to sell, we have to market. And what we are going to do is, here's what we're going to do. Trench Town, people might think about that it's bad place. No. Trench Town is now the new Mecca. You know, is the liquor, is the comparable place, is the Chicago, is for blues. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what happened. I mean, the whole question, even the, as a lot of people don't want to talk about it, the Rastafarian image of Bob Marley and thing was curated, I mean, meticulously, how you call it now, PR'd for the world, you know. And we, I mean, because we didn't have any alternative or counter thing taking place, it became the new look for musicians out of Jamaica. So you didn't know who was Rasta from who was Rasta, because all of a sudden this was
Dreadlocks was vogue.
Jamaican.
Dreadlocks was in vogue.
Dreadlocks was in vogue.
And it wasn't by accident at all. It wasn't by accident. But I'm saying, when a PR job is really, really well done, it is so seamless. And before you know it, you realize, look what happened with they used to have this thing down Tivoli, Passa Passa.
Passa Passa, yes.
Passa Passa, and in other words, same thing took place down by
Raytown.
Raytown. All of a sudden, and people just, a friend of mine told me that as she went down there with a bunch of PR people. And I said, listen, you can't pay for this nowhere. So this so-called place that's supposed to be one of the
roughest place in town,
Jamaica. But it have everything that story will speak about. Danger, sex, everything, music. How we gonna make this? And all of a sudden, Passa Passa was the place that every uptown kid wanted to go to. It was distilled danger. it was what you call it now? In other words, I could have got to this place.
I like
danger,
that term, distilled danger.
Because
that's what it was.
White rum.
Yeah. And like I'm saying, sex
rum.
and violence sell. That's exactly what it was. So the sex was in the dancing that was taking place. And then so in other words, a lot of the mystique.
Listen,
and it was quite an adrenaline rush.
By the music.
I had my own experiences. I went there twice. The first time was a wake-up call, because under normal circumstances, you ain't catching me around at that side of Kingston at no time whatsoever. And here I am at 9 o'clock in the night, right in the belly of the beast, right? I remember at the time, I have my hands, I met, mass in the car trunk, and a little man look over the zinc fence and say, "Nah, for worry, boss. You can lock it up in there and go on about your business." Me almost want to drive away now, because you can't imagine. Right? The man said, "Go on, enjoy it." I never forget it. But you are right. It's called distilled danger. Again,
where are you to the bar?
The music is telling the stories. And, for those who just joining, we're looking at Jamaica's music legacy over the last 60 years.
We just reached 1970s.
Well, so we should do it decade by decade, though. We're not doing justice. We can't do justice to the 60 years, not this one program. I'm telling you from now.
No, we're not trying to do the 60 years. We're doing decade by decade. You are absolutely correct.
That's why it says part one, man.
Yeah, this is why
it's part one.
There you
go. Because we know there's no way we can
know that.
30 years into 2 hours.
Oh, absolutely not. So let's run.
We'll get to the ball, a couple other songs, and then we take it up to the half hour.
Hi there. If you enjoyed that clip, go on over to our website at yawdmedia.com, where you can watch the entire broadcast at your leisure. And while you're there, why don't you check out our other reggae music features? And before you leave, pick up some of our Jamaican reggae merchandise, and hey, don't forget to tell your friends.